because the particular founder that I'm talking about is Ernest Everett Just. And, the reason why I resonate with him more so is because I had a point where I had to make a decision, and I had to decide, am I going to move to Japan and study these people who live to 100, who eat primarily a plant-based diet, or I'm going to stay where I'm at and climb my corporate ladder. And it was a really, really tough decision. Because
before you dig into that, you got to tell people, because I overstepped. I didn't even tell people all the accolades. I didn't tell them that your training and who you are. So give it to us, man. Don't give it to us.
Well, so in undergrad, I was a double major in exercise physiology and chemistry. And initially I was going to medical school. But what I found was that I had this passion for chemistry that I loved. And it was obvious because I was a chemistry major. And it came so easy to me that I honestly didn't know what a pharmacist did. But I just so happened to be on a plane coming back from New York. And a lady who was sitting next to me so happened to be a pharmacist. And she told me what a clinical pharmacist does. And that was the first time in my life, other than Walmart or CVS, that I had knew what a pharmacist did. Like, I knew they were behind the counter handing out, prescription drugs, but I didn't know what they did. And when she described what they did, I was like, man, that sounds like me, and it sounds easy, because chemistry just came naturally for me. And so ended up going to pharmacy school instead, and had an amazing time, an amazing experience at pharmacy school. And I was national president of an organization called SNAFA, which has a very similar organization for medical students as well. We focus on bringing minorities into the healthcare profession. And so I had the opportunity to be the national president of that. And that really gave me my business acumen. And so when I came out of pharmacy school, I wanted to be a director and a manager of a pharmacy. So that was my whole sort of goal. And so I came out, was a manager, also worked in a clinical setting, also worked for the FDA, just trying to get my footstones everywhere and figure out where I wanted to land. And
you have all the hidden secrets in the FDA?
Not quite. But it really was a great experience for me to learn, like, us as healthcare professional, we learn one side of it. Like, we don't typically learn the how drugs come to be. We just learn, like, okay, these are the pharmacokinetics behind the drugs. These are the bioavailability. These are the patients that should take it. We learn those type of things, but how they come to be and sitting in these meetings where patients are showing up to saying, hey, I took the drug in the trial, all these type of things it was pretty amazing for me. And then, so leaving that, coming back, going into the clinical setting, what really changed my life was the fact that I got diagnosed with high blood pressure when I was 16. And and I was an athlete. I mean, I only had about 5% body fat. But the only issue was that I had lost all my grandparents by the time I was in the 10th grade from chronic diseases, colorectal cancer, diabetes, heart attacks, etc. And so getting a diagnosis of hypertension and being fit at 16 years old, it was almost like a death sentence. It was like, okay, so I'm going to die early too. And so I lived with high blood pressure for about 10 or 12 years. And finally, I woke up one day. And
Were you taking meds? Were you taking medications?
I was taking a diuretic, so just ACTZ. Okay. My doctor wanted to put me on an ACE inhibitor, but I just wouldn't take it. And so I just, I'll tell people this, healthcare professionals are the worst patients. And so I wasn't an exception. And so, I had a sort of a come to moment where I took my blood pressure and it was stroke level one day. And I felt fine, but I also felt like I needed to check my blood pressure.
So it was like 200s?
Yeah, it was like maybe 195 over 200. Yeah.
Wow.
And so here I am, 28, in the hospital, counseling patients, and I'm on my deathbed. And I had a moment where I was like, I have got to get my health together, or I'm really going to die early, because I know what those type of blood pressures indicate. And so I started trying everything. Um, all these diets and meals you get on wheels and get in the mail and exercise routines. I tried everything and nothing worked. And out of desperation, I was like, I'm gonna try a plant-based lifestyle. Tried it and lost about 40 pounds and normalized my blood pressure. And that was,
I mean, wait. How did you just stumble on the plant-based diet? I mean, did you see something? Did you check out? I mean, was it a movie, a
this is
clip? Did
kind
you
of
see Chef
interesting.
AJ?
Yeah,
What?
it's kind of interesting. So I was always like, I love like motivational, inspirational, like tapes and stuff like that. So I always listened to like Tony Robbins.
Okay.
And he had a period where he was plant-based.
Did he
And
really?
yeah, and he promoted a plant-based lifestyle, fasting, eating healthy. And because I always listened to him, I was like, well, Tony did it for 21 days. Surely I could do
All
it.
right.
And so 21 days, I lost 17 pounds and lost about 20 points off of my diastolic blood pressure. And I was like, okay, well, I got to keep going now. Like, it's only 21 days. And in about 60 days, I lost about 45 pounds and normalized my blood pressure.
Right.
And that was the point where it was like, I just didn't understand how plants could do this. And that was the really confusing thing. So it was like, oh, you don't know what you think you know. You're not as smart as you think you are. And that was the deep dive that kind of led me down my path to moving to Japan and quitting my job and deciding to do some research out there.
Wait a minute. Well, so before you get to the Jerry Maguire moment where you were like, you're out, okay? Before you get to the Jerry Maguire moment. So, I mean, that it reminds me of Albert Einstein, and he had this quote, at least it's attributed to him. It says, ego equals 1 divided by your knowledge. The
Yes.
higher your knowledge and awareness gets, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Yes.
What you thought you know, what you thought
Yes.
you knew, right? And so it seems like you had entered that phase, as many of us who've entered into this plant-based world have realized, I don't know everything.
Yes.
I do not know everything. And I'm constantly in the state of learning. And so that's incredible. So you're early in your practice, climbing the corporate ladder, and you just have your Jerry Maguire moment and like, I'm out? How'd that happen?
Well, I had a moment where, so my third year into my practice, I got an award for most innovative pharmacist in my state. Now, this is the first time somebody as young as me had gotten an award, and this first time a Black person had gotten an award too. And I didn't know why I got the award, because I had quit my job at the hospital and taken an opportunity to work with a physician who had about 21 clinics, and he was just looking for a pharmacist to do something dynamic. And I was looking to do something dynamic because I'm like, maybe we can help people with this diet and, stuff like that. And so he was open to me, implementing that into my practice and just doing things differently. He created a collaborative practice agreement where I could work with all the employees. And so as a result, I don't know how like the powers that be found out about what I was doing, but when they did find out, I got this award. And as I was coming off of the stage after getting the award, this guy told me, he was like, hey, if you're looking to start a pharmacy, like I could help you. And I think you could be a millionaire in like a year or so. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a kid. I come from the projects. Like, I come from very humble beginnings. And so when he said that, a light went off like, damn, this could be what I dreamed of. Because before introducing myself to healing and a plant-based lifestyle, that was my dream. Yeah. And now I was being confronted with the old dream, but now I had a new perspective. And so
choice to make. You're
yes,
at a crossroads there.
At a crossroads. And so, I had this vision for what I wanted to do. It wasn't a complete vision, but I had an idea. And I thought, if I take that road, like, I'm not coming back from that. And I wouldn't even blame myself if I didn't come back from it. because it was my initial dream in the first place. But I also knew that if I didn't take it yet, and I decided to keep going down this rabbit hole that I was going down, that I could probably discover something like life changing. And so I told him no at the moment, and maybe a couple months later, I got a call from a friend asking if I'd like to go to Japan and study and work out there. And I thought it was a joke at first, to be honest with you. So I really didn't respond to the emails or anything like that. But finally, like I did respond and found out it was a real opportunity.